Come, please. Please come. Please sit down. Natasha, please sit down. Make yourself comfortable. Okay? So, Natasha is your fourth attempt, fifth attempt? Fifth attempt. And now the first time you are going to fail the interview board personality test. Okay? And you have your higher education from GMU, Goyal University. Goyal University. Were you in the hostel?
Yes.
In the hostel, yeah. Okay. And your subject, opted your subject political science and international relations, and these were your subject in masters also.
Yes, sir.
You have done PhD from GMU?
Yes, sir.
What was the topic of the PhD?
So it was disaster governance.
Disaster
Governance.
governance. Okay, very interesting. And who was the supervisor?
Professor Amrita.
Amrita. Which center? Which school?
It's a Center for Study of Law and Governance.
Center for
Study of Law and Governance.
Law and Governance. Okay, good. So it must be newly set up center, Law and Governance?
Yes.
When was set up?
Exact year I don't know, but it was a recent center.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Before we go on to other areas, but what do they mean by law and governance? Center for Law and Governance, where you have studied. What does it convey? What does it mean?
So looking at the legal aspects of governance, in terms of transdisciplinary study, the center from where I
Can you speak louder? Don't bother about this. Don't bother about this. If you are uncomfortable, you can leave it. Quick, please.
So it was the center basically focused on transdisciplinary study, looking at the various academic disciplines. Instead of looking at those disciplines in silos, the center focused on looking at a more detailed recognition across disciplines. For example, law, public administration, political science. So the focus area of center was this.
Okay. Okay, most of the social science subjects are multidisciplinary, whether it's history or sociology, or most of them are multidisciplinary. Even law to the best one. So here also is multidisciplinary. But when you say governance, what do you cover to governance? You said law, to understand the body of law, and then governance. Okay. And something the term is a word of late means like some advisory reform commission ARC. Good governance. Governance and good governance. Can there be bad governance also?
So if the governance is not catering to the needs of the citizens, if it is not keeping citizens at the center of its own policy and implementation, then there can be, we can say that it's not good governance. And bad governance is when the administration is used against the welfare of people. For example, recently we saw some IAS officers using force during the COVID pandemic over the citizens when there was violation of certain norms. So that can be termed as bad governance. Good governance will keep citizens at the center of its policy making and implementation.
Okay. So it's related to the motives or intentions or the ultimate goal. Means are not important. Are you suggesting that? Or means are also important?
So means of course become important. As much as ends, means also become important.
What means are there? Suppose a disaster management, as you said, disaster. Disaster can be natural disaster, it can be otherwise also. Taking the example, you quoted pandemic. So it is meant, or recent Uttarakhand this issue which is here. No, these are some type of disaster. So, and governance, disaster and governance. So what means could be used? And it can be terms of good governance, and it can be. You give examples of some COVID taking you from that. Where will you place during the COVID? Some examples you can say good governance, some examples you can say
So governance includes basically the process of how the services are being provided to the citizens. So during COVID, good governance would be when the government ensured that nobody died of starvation ensuring that the food trains reach each and every corner to each and every person, ensuring that the education facilities, online education, was ensured to all the students. The High Court judiciary during that time ensured that the oxygen cylinders were being made available. The grievances of citizens were addressed in time. So that is good governance. When the citizens are being heard and the grievances are being addressed in the right manner, ensuring that the human rights are not being violated.
Okay. There, I have an example in my mind. I want to. There was this incident in Delhi itself when a religious organization related to Muslim community, they continued the religious program despite COVID-19 being spread. And then this organization was banned, there was some police action and things like that. So there's a complication. Now, later on, Supreme Court and various courts gave judgments in different legal cases or cases. Many were being. Where was mismanagement of good governance or bad management in that particular example? Find any? Have you any knowledge of that? Have you heard of all that? Read in newspapers?
Yes.
So, keeping that example in mind, which I specifically put it to you, where you know your opinion in disaster management or pandemic management, things like that.
So according to my recommendation, the instances of good governance, the bad governance in that particular case of ability to matters, citizens not being aware of the orders which were passed by the administration in time. So that is where there is a lack on the part of governance. Citizens should be made aware about the ban on the congregation.
I'm listening to this.
The ban on the congregation which was imposed, and once they got to know, there had to be certain proper mechanism of ensuring that the citizens are being are allowed to come out of that place in time after proper quarantine procedures were followed, and also ensuring that proper food and shelter was being provided till the people were there. And so one very crucial incident, the basic thing which happened at that time was one community was being targeted.
Okay. Right. Okay. Fine. Now, whenever some disaster, natural disaster takes place, what is the immediate requirement from the governance point of view?
So evacuation, ensuring that the people who are under the disease, for example, in the earthquake area or the flood area, they are evacuated in time and provided proper shelter and food. First priority.
If I say it's relief, evacuation, food, medicine, also relief.
Yes.
Okay. And then next,
So next is ensuring that whatever relief is there by the government, it reaches properly in time and there are no lapses in terms of leakages.
okay. Then next,
So ensuring rehabilitation.
rehabilitation. Okay. So one is relief, one is rehabilitation. Two parts. Many disaster management. So if there are generally very large number of complaints when it comes to rehabilitation. Relief part is one part of the rehabilitation. Mismanagement, corruption, many other type of misuse of gender misuses, and then a lot of conflict comes. One of the biggest rehabilitation event in the Indian history. What comes to your mind?
So the Odisha cyclones which happened. It didn't happen in one life.
Say partition. Partition of the country. Millions of people migrated from this side to this side, and the rehabilitation. I am concerning rehabilitation. So one of the biggest and their rehabilitation was the issue. So a lot of correction and things like stories were there, books are written, things are written, like that. So this is one of the issues you have to do in consideration. In situation, what I'm trying to know from you are because you are creative of subject on disaster management, you are a creative subject. So rehabilitation, there are loopholes and there are and your PhD, have you studied any specific case or period or any issue? Your PhD in disaster management, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
In your dissertation, have you studied any specific case or any period or any theory, whatever it is?
So my study focused on Delhi and Mumbai, the coordination between the institutions, the science institutions, which are like the IMD and the Ministry of Earth Sciences. How are they coordinating with the administration?
And whenever there is disaster.
So mostly pre-disaster phase. Pre-disaster.
Pre-disaster phase.
Yes, sir. How basically the idea focused on that not every disaster is a natural disaster as it is termed. There are man-made disasters.
Okay.
And so coming to the
So
question.
you have not studied any actual disaster had taken place and then rehabilitation issues and things like that. That you have not covered in your research.
Yes, nothing. But sir, during the course of my research, there is one very crucial aspect in the rehabilitation scheme, which comes the human trafficking which happens after the disaster. Women and children are the most affected after the disaster.
No, that's very different area. Human trafficking, I will not go to that. It will open up and house box like that. Girls coming from Nepal, they sold here. All girls coming from Bangladesh, so they sold here. Or taken abroad. Like that. This is a huge area. So I don't know what you studied in that human trafficking. But anyway, so I move on from your PhD thesis to your university. I see a statement from your vice chancellor 2 days back that historians of JNU writes history without facts, without listening. So, what is your opinion on this statement?
So history as a discipline also it is multi-perspective basis. Even history is not a one-dimensional subject. Every person will have his own perspective on history.
Perspective, but there must be facts. First of all, history first part is facts. Second part may be perspective and opinion and interpretations. So many things may be there. First, we have to arrange some facts. So she is saying without facts, history is being written. Without false history is being written. In other words, by JNU professors, academia. This is what she said in newspapers.
So I'm not aware of a specific statement.
Okay, suppose this such a statement is made.
History being written without facts. So I would differ with that statement.
Okay.
Because
Why will you differ? Okay, why will you differ with that statement?
Because there are certain facts which are universal. For example, the prevalence of caste system in India. It was always there and there is no second thought about it. And over that, there is a whole lot of history which is written on the genesis of such a system.
Now, there are cases of history where there are very strong archaeological difference of opinion, particularly related to religious places in India. When there are temples earlier, mosques are built on temples, things like that. And there are archaeological facts and disputes. So there can be possibility of there are two different opinions or facts, two different facts available to us. So when you say there are certain given facts, but there are facts which are disputed, then what is your comment? How do you write history of that situation like that? Are you comfortable with history or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, so even in that case, I believe that it should be a result of common deliberation and discussion.
Presently, the very senior minister of Government of India, say number 2, has said that the history of revolution or revolutionaries during the period of freedom movement has not given the due importance as deserves. And it should be given more importance, it should be brought to center stage. Revolutionaries, like Bhagat Singh, or many others. So, in this statement, what is your comment on this statement?
So I believe that there is a proper space given to these revolutionaries also. We read about them, the three phases of the revolutionary movement, and also the contribution of stalwarts like Subhash Bose, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad. So as a student, we read about them and we do research about them. So there can be more research on these aspects of the freedom movement. But I would before that these aspects of freedom movement were totally neglected. They were not totally neglected, but yes, there can be more research and there can be more discussion about these aspects of freedom movement also.
He said that one more statement he made, there could not have been freedom without these revolutionary movement. Freedom would have been delayed and the contribution as the non-violent movement. Equal in the extent of equal contribution, the non-violent movement, then the revolutionary movement of India.
So I believe that the Indian culture has given equal importance to Shastra as well as Shastra. So even though the freedom movement, which was led by Mahatma Gandhi, had its place in the freedom struggle and it played a major role. At the same time, ignoring the revolutionaries and their contribution is not justified. They also
we claim that one of the soft power of India is non-violence. We say the word at last. That one of our strengths is we are non-violent. We achieve freedom with non-violence, unlike many other freedoms movement. So our strength is non-violence, not the revolutionary and people who took the guns or people who resorted to throwing bombs at the police officers in the past 30. So many prominent persons of the freedom movement were revolutionaries. Savarkar was one, Bhagat Singh was one. And so, but we believe that we are proud of non-violence. We say it is one of our soft power. Where is the clash between the two thoughts?
Sir, I do not see a clash.
See a clash.
Because non-violence is in the cultural ethos of India. Indian civilization which propounds Vasudeva Kutumbakam, one world family. At the same time, the contribution of revolutionaries was great in their own aspect. They performed, the role they have played is to ignite the fire of freedom amongst people.
One of the biggest criticisms of Mahatma Gandhi is that he dropped the movement of the Chori Chora incident. He withdrew the whole movement, which was almost, as they claim, people who criticize it, almost brought Britishers to their knees, and had the movement continued, perhaps freedom could have been achieved at that point of time. So, but since Chori Chora incident took place, Mahatma Gandhi withdrew the entire movement. So he is criticized for that. But he was very proud of that. He said, no, he never said he did the wrong thing. So our history, historians feel that we should go back to that attitude in our life, like Chori Chora, or we should continue our attitude which is non-violence, Afghanian.
So withdrawal of the movement that time after a instance of violence which happened at the that was essential because that played a role in drawing the masses of India towards the mass movement. Because picking up guns and following the revolutionary path is not possible with every person in the society. And considering the cultural, fundamental cultural rulings non-violence. So
if you are having this argument, and if you have revolutionaryism, so for the sake of logic and background, where do you play the recent Naxal movement and Mao's movement, which are also sort of revolutionary movements?
Saying the Naxal movement, the crisis are very different. The Naxal movement is against the state, the established state, whereas the revolutionary movement was to overthrow the colonial government, which was in itself illegitimate and in violation of the human rights. the very fundamental human rights.
So conceptually, when I say colonial government, you justify violence and revolution movement, and if it's your own government, you don't justify it. So
the colonial movement never cared for the human rights, and there was no scope.
no, human rights are part of chance. Okay, that's all right. Human rights issues are both sides. But as a concept, I'm talking about, when you uphold the revolutionary movement or like movement type movement against colonial or foreigners or foreign rules and not your own rules or your own countries.
So against the colonial government, yes, if there is violence to be taken by a small section, I will not downgrade the contribution of the revolutionaries. The Naxal movement, the reasons, they need to be addressed. There are certain loopholes in governance. There are certain grievances of the people at the ground level. If they can be addressed, the Naxal movement can be taken care of.
So, since you are a student of political science, you must have covered philosophical and theoretical aspects of various movements in this country and elsewhere. Mostly, there is a nationalist movement in most of the countries. Colonialism was there. It all was against removing the foreign rule, yoke of the foreign rule, and they have some element of violence in it. Like terrorism, we see terrorism. How you define terrorism? Today's terrorism. So to some people, it's a struggle for freedom. To us, it's terrorism. How we justify that?
So terrorism, although the intentions can be of freedom, but the method adopted, the means adopted are not good. In terms of that, innocent people are being killed when there is a terrorist attack, just to have headlines, just to gain attention towards the cause, and that is where I think there is a gap.
Thank you from my side.
I studied political science to the PhD doctorate level. So the assistant professor can be a very good area for me. So I would like to know very well object for future research.
So during my research, when we were organizing various conferences and events that happened with the academic scholars, I realized that although I was in a position to have certain suggestions and recommendations for governments, but the real opportunity to work for the people at the ground level in terms of policy implementation, civil services can be a good opportunity in that sense. And also it's a respectable job, so I wanted to pursue this field.
The job of teacher is also respectable.
Yes.
Okay. We have studied very extensively at a length of political science. Can you say something about biopower? What is biopower? What is biopower?
So biopower is a concept by who terms that power is not just the constructive view of power, that how power influences the very aspect of human body in terms of creating the discourses of normality, what is normal and what is not normal. So in that sense, he abounded the micro view of power, that how even the thing is a product of power, not just a center for exercising power we consider.
Which was the book which encapsulated the ideas by Foucault?
So I believe it's Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment is a novel philosophy.
Discipline and punishment.
Discipline and punishment.
Yes.
Yeah. Discipline and punishment. And another book is Madness and Civilization by Foucault. These two books deal with this issue. What made a vision for the dearth of political thinkers among women? Why there are not so many women? David Hume, Locke, Machiavelli, be Western or the Indian tradition, there are lots of women. What will be the reason for this?
So Western philosophy is usually considered male-centric. That was a criticism also by the feminist scholars, because the exclusion of women was started from excluding them from the public sphere and limiting them to the private sphere, considering that
What is Indian culture? In the Indian political thinking tradition, are there many women? If
so
they are new, few.
So there are few, not as much as the male philosophers, because women were usually. So I believe the reason is that because of the patriarchy which persisted, and also lack of literacy among them. But still, we see certain women scholars also coming out and voicing their concerns about women's rights particularly.
Can you name a few?
So, if I'm correct, it's Roshni Naidu and some like Savitri Bai Phule.
So why Savitri Bai Phule don't find mention in the history book even by leftists? It was complaint of one of the historians, Lal Bahadur Verma. He wrote a book where the historian itself pointed out that they are not mentioned. He also opened a school, but Rajaram Mohan Rai is more renowned for opening a school in education. What will be the reason? It is caste or gender or interrelation between caste and gender, which was the source of prosecution of Savitri by feudal element. They throw dirt and all on Savitri.
So I'm not really aware about this area, but I believe it would be intersection
Have you heard of circularity? Have heard of intersectionality?
Yes, sir.
Who propounded it?
So, invaluable.
Yeah. So what is the idea of intersectionality? And what is its legal significance? Because he was a lawyer, if you know. So what is the legal significance, or what can we make use of intersectionality in policy? You told that as a civil servant, you will get opportunity to make a policy. How will you use the concept of intersectionality? Suppose you are going to make policy of a scholarship for poor or those who need. So how will you implement the concept of intersectionality as a civil servant?
So, intersectionality concept propounds that the patriarchy, the discrimination which women face, it is not just because of gender. There are other aspects also which, if overlapping with the concept of gender, a same person would face even more discrimination. For example, a black woman, she will face discrimination also because of gender and race. A Dalit woman will face discrimination because of gender and caste identity. So, this is what intersectionality basically propounds. And in terms of policy making, if there is a policy, for example, on fellowship for these scholars, and if there is a particular quota system for women scholars, then we need to ensure that there is also a particular affirmative action which is taken for the women scholars who are coming from the Dalit background. So considering those parameters, coming from which region are they coming, which community are they coming, which religion, if it comes, those things can be taken.
Here, the sexual politics, there is a book by Kate Millett. He talks about politics on genders. What is your take on, is it political relation between men and women or apolitical?
So, can you elaborate the question?
The relationship, according to the recent concept of power, even the relationship between man and woman is political one. Like rape is called to be not act of sex, it is called to be act of power. What is your take on it?
So, feminists usually say that person is political.
Yeah.
So, even in interpersonal relations, there is politics, meaning that there is a equation of power which comes into play. Coming from Indian society, I do see that equation in terms of patriarchal mindset which persists. For example, the gender roles for women, they are not allowed to go out. they need to work into specific roles, and also in terms of decision making, the power of agency. So yes, these politics does come into play.
Sometimes women are also treated as agents of power, patriarchy. That's why one bell hooks up black English told us that patriarchy has no gender. So how far you agree with this statement? Patriarchy has no gender. Okay, what can be role of women in disaster management? Can women have some specific role which men cannot in disaster management?
So, post a disaster, there is an issue of trauma which persists among the people. Women have to play a very good role in that aspect. I don't want to limit it to the gender roles again. They can perform very good role even in evacuation and ensuring proper rehabilitation. But yes, in terms of trauma relief, women can do a wonderful job.
Recently we faced the corona problem. Do you consider it as a disaster? If yes, natural disaster or man-made disaster?
So it was a disaster in terms of the loss, economic loss humankind has had place. It was a man-made disaster, sir, because it was a result eventually of the zoonotic diseases. Because of the encroachments by the mankind into the habitations of the animals and less of precautionary measures being taken on time, there was delayed action by the administration that led to the epidemic becoming a pandemic. And
there was a political philosopher, Thomas Ponty, who gave the concept of human nature, and it was criticized by Karl Marx and also by Foucault that humanism is a farce. Humanism as not humanitarianism, humanism. That there is nothing called human nature. So when you are telling that is natural or man-made, is there ambiguity when we use the term natural calamity or not? Because it is historical one, there is nothing called human. The concept, the notion of these are criticized by political thinkers. As a student of political science, what is your opinion?
so is it the dichotomy between natural and man-made that we are
Yeah.
So there are certain disasters which can be called natural in terms of an earthquake. It is in nobody's control that tremors are happening in the earth's surface. Or even in case of floods, for example, there is a sudden downpour, it is in nobody's control. But at the same time, so the damage which persists after a disaster, there it comes to human dimension because recently we saw in Hiroshima, the encroachments which have happened, the deforestation which has happened. So the zone was fragile and we all knew it. But then the construction which continued unabated, that led to more destruction and creating more problems for the settlements there. So man-made dimension does come, there is natural dimension also, and the damage which is there, that can be called to the man.
Recently, there was a movement, soft girl power movement in Nigeria. Have you heard of it?
Yes, sir.
What do you do as a woman? Suppose you get the position of district magistrate or district collector. What would be the specific steps you take to improve the condition of women in your district?
So which particular district
Suppose you are posted in Haryana or your home state Punjab. Do you think the position of women is better in Punjab than other states? It is more egalitarian in terms of gender.
So the equation will differ from region to region and from the community.
You go to Goyal. In Goyal, your city.
You can take any example.
Yeah.
If you can take any district of your choice. Why are you asking so many questions? Take any district.
Any district. Goyal.
So, if I talk about my personal experience, there is a certain empowerment to women in the current scenario. For example, the parents giving opportunity for education and giving opportunity for economic empowerment. But certain restrictions still remain in a very subtle manner. Over there needs to be certain, it's an evolutionary process. I do see certain progress, but there is a scope for further corrections in the society.
In plus 2 examination, you started first science, then suddenly it switched over to humanity. So, what may be reason for switching to humanity, taking political science and English in your graduation?
So I wanted to write this in the services exam. So I wanted to go.
Very beginning, you should actually
Yes.
you may have taken it at plus 2 level also.
Sorry, sir.
Plus 2 level, you could have taken political science level.
So,
Mathematics.
Yes. So that time it was not very thought of decision in terms of because everybody was doing engineering, so I also. But then during plus 2 I realized that this was I wanted to write once. So I switched my streams.
Can you tell me what may be reason behind Louisiana, the name of Louisiana, the origin of name of Louisiana? Is it something to do with the Rose caste or Rosie?
Yes, sir. So it was basically Sikandar Lodi who was going to visit. So two of his generals were sent by the king to these areas of Punjab. And so basically one of the generals who was resident in this area, he named the place as Lodi and so and that is how we had.
And what about Dugri? Because you are from the Afghan state Dugri. What does Dugri mean in Punjabi language?
So in Punjab, I saw the Hebrew translation. It means somebody who's very frank and not scared of giving out his or her opinion.
What about some people opine that it is related to Dogra, Dugri, which means mountain in Punjabi language or Dogra language also. So is it some connection with that?
So I'm not aware of that.
You have chosen to write Hindi, not Punjabi. What may be reason? Punjabi and Punjabi is promoted by Punjab government, large scale. We wanted Hindi.
So I was more comfortable in writing Hindi and in the limited time period. Although I can read and write Punjabi also, but I had more command over Hindi. So for examination purpose, I read Hindi.
Who is your favorite poet in Punjabi?
So I do not read much of poetry, but yes, I have heard of Amrita Feeling. I have heard of Varis Shah. I have heard Varis Shah. So I really like this.
What is the subject matter of your poem?
So I read just partition and the trauma which persisted after the partition of the country. So seeing that trauma, seeing the bloodshed, she wrote those words of Anakha Marishani from the cover which wrote his book.
The partition had tremendous effect on the movement. One chemist has research on, can you name it? From Rajasthan. From chemist point of view, the partition has been researched and they have written at large about it.
So if I'm correct, it's Maharshi, but
Yeah. Good. Did you listen?
Yes. Raza?
Yeah. So you have A, B in NCC, right? You must have spent 3 years in NCC.
that's it.
2 years. So tell us about when NCC was started, what is its strength. That's something about NCC.
So NCC, I'm not really aware of the exact year, but there is an act of 1948. I'm not sure.
1948.
And so the main motto, the main purpose of NCC is training the youth into life of discipline, into life of leadership, and into life of teamwork. That is the basic.
What is the anthem of NCC?
So it is unity and discipline.
Anthem.
Anthem.
Comes of Bharat Party. Okay, so somewhere you have mentioned that your mom is a housewife and skills paid 0.
Yes, sir.
Your annual income of your mother is 0,
Yes, sir.
but father is still alive.
Yes.
Do you think that woman should be paid as a housemaker? Will it help the Indian economy?
So women as a housemaker, they also play an important role in contributing to the economic growth, because eventually if the men are going out and working and if the children are being able to get education, it is because of women, their contribution.
Yeah,
And
but you have written zero.
yes, sir. So that is how the GDP is accounted. The care work is not accounted, and that's a loophole in how we calculate the GDP.
Right. Okay, tell me the India's position on the three global crises. One is Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine. First, second is food crisis, and third is crisis in the worldwide economy that is struggling yet due to the COVID-19.
So India's position?
Yeah.
So in the Ukraine-Russia crisis, India has taken the position of neutrality in terms of proposing negotiation and diplomacy rather than war. As Honorable Prime Minister said, that this is not an era of war. So in terms of food security, India has contributed to the food security of nations who could not afford the food grains because of supply disruptions. And also India played a crucial role in negotiating the Black Sea grain agreement so that the food grains could be shipped out of the countries like Ukraine.
Okay, tell me any international report on governance. The debate has started on governance, right? Tell me any important report on governance.
So if you can categorize global hunger index under the governance aspect.
Okay, you have worked in Election Commission of India, Council Election, Ambassador organized, right? Recently, the Election Commission chief was elected in one day, right? And there's a huge debate in whether Election Commissioner should be appointed by the executive or there should be a collegiate system to appoint the Election Commissioner. What is your take on it?
So as the Honorable Supreme Court recently pointed out, there needs to be more transparency in terms of the process of appointment of the election commission and also the election commissioners. So there needs to be certain amendments which are needed because to ensure free and fair election is the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. So yes, there is a need to have certain amendments.
But day before yesterday, the Vice President of India, right, he said that the Supreme Court cannot restrict the sovereignty of the Parliament because of the to protect the basic structure. What do you think that? You have cited basic structure.
So basic structure is a document, implementation of the Bible case. It has strengthened the Indian democracy and it has played a very important role to limit the powers of the Parliament and executive. Limit in the sense that they do not cross the boundaries.
Okay, today in the Indian Express, there is one good article on in the defense of basic structure by M.K. Read only. What is the difference between pastoral power, disciplinary power, and moral power? These are the modalities of power taught by Foucault. What is the basic difference between these two?
So disciplinary power would be a power which is used to discipline a particular individual. For example, following certain norms. For example, in school, coming on time, proper wearing of dress code is there. So that is a disciplinary power. Biopower is when the discourse of normality is given. What is normal and what is not normal. So that comes into the domain of, for example, LGBT rights and the rights of the other gender people. So third aspect are not clear.
Okay, fine. I think next, Dr. Natasha ask you a few questions.
Natasha, can you tell me some names of political thinkers of ancient India?
So Buddha is termed as a political thinker by some scholars and also Goyal, Chanakya.
And any other?
So ancient India and Goyal.
Okay. Cordelia, you have ever. Can you tell me about the Saptang, 7 elements of the spirit?
So first would be the king, who is called as an Nagi. So then treasury, Bal, which is the army. Sir, the Janpat, the common people of the territory. Sir, Mitra, friendly country.
Mitra means friends.
Friendly country in the neighborhood. Sir, Amatyas, the ministers. And Sir, Dur, the court.
So, do you relevant this model context or not?
Sir, Dur in modern translation would convert to the territorial having territorial infrastructure. That is quite relevant. For example, we see the Indo-China context in Ladakh.
Okay. Have you heard about the monetary principle related to international relations?
Yes.
What is the monetary principle?
So, monetary principle is a principle in international geopolitics in which what India says that neighbor is an enemy and neighbor's neighbor is a national friend.
What term he used exactly?
So, for the enemy he uses Ari, and for so the other term
And the term Vijigishu, he used Vijigishu, what is the meaning?
So Vijigishu means a king who has the moral authority to take care of the people, welfare of people through expansionist policy.
Expansion. Can you differentiate some political idea of Gandhi and political idea described in Mahabharata? Is there any difference or same?
So a very fundamental difference I would say is Gandhi promoted non-violence as a fundamental principle, whereas Krishna in Mahabharata asked Arjuna to pick up weapon and fight the war.
But on many occasions, Gandhi also supported violence. At the time of the movement, Gandhi supported and he even defined the term violence. And even after huge violence, he didn't condemn this to Indian. So it is worthless to say that Gandhi always supported non-violence. For righteousness, Gandhi supported violence. But there are several other examples also. Any other difference? Okay. Recently, the concept of Ram Rajya, what is this Ram Rajya? Is it a secular concept or religious concept?
So Ram Rajya is a secular concept. It has nothing to do with religion. It is basically a concept denoting that people in the territory under the king, they are happy and welfare of the citizens is the primary responsibility.
And justice.
Yes.
And justice.
Justice. Yes.
Yes, hello Natasha. So you come from Punjab. Have you heard about Operation Blue Star and Operation Black Thunder? What was the difference in approach of Indian state?
So Operation Black Thunder I want to know about. Operation Blue Star was to eject the Sikh militants who were residing in the Golden Temple, within the prison of the Golden Temple.
Okay. So you can read more about it and role of today's NSA, Ajit Doval in that. We have seen in last 2 decades, Punjab has been going down into the per capita income or other parameters of development. What are the reasons that there has been a drastic fall from the third in 2001 to 19 in last of the year per capita income?
So there are two primary reasons. Punjab's economy is basically relying on agriculture, and where in agriculture there is a stagnation in terms of productivity, and that is the reason for falling incomes of people. And so in terms of industry, there is also stagnation which we are witnessing today because of lack of government support in terms of policy investments And also, sir, there is also lack of basic facilities like electricity for the people, and migrant laborers, they are not willing to come to these states because of.
Okay, but your state is giving free electricity.
Yes, sir.
So is there lack of electricity?
Sir, Punjab itself is an energy deficit state. So I would say that there is surplus electricity, but at the same time, giving free electricity is one of the criticisms.
Okay, so what are interest groups?
So informal organization of people with an aim to pursue a particular interest.
Okay, have you heard about Bharat Krishak Samaj?
Yes, sir.
Tell me. Tell us.
So it is about putting forward the interest of the workers.
Of workers, Bharat Krishak Samaj. Any political connection with this? Any political family member who heads this? Relevant from Punjab?
So I'm not aware.
Have you heard Balram Jakhar? Have you heard about Sunil Jakhar? One of the politicians who, and Ajay Singh Jakhar, he has. Okay.
I don't know.
Exactly. And they are doing big work on Kinu. They have big farm work and he keeps on writing in newspaper. Ajay Singh Jakhar. Okay, so you said that Indian society has been non-violent. Okay. But we have a lot of crime against women, children, horrendous crimes like rape, caste violence, and so what is your view?
So, Indian society, we take non-violence as an ideal for ourselves. In terms of cultural value, society per se is not non-violent completely. There will be instances of violence, there have been instances of violence, there will be, and there are. Because violence.
So cultural values when you say, and approximately 79% of the population according to 2011 data follows Hinduism. And if we see the gods, most of the gods and goddesses are having multiple weapons, and they have been killing the people who were killed. I mean, have ill intentions, doing well. So cultural values have been painted in a violent color. Do you agree with that?
So I beg to differ, because that shows that the Indian culture gives equal importance to both Shastra and Shastra. So Shastra is also as much knowledge. If the knowledge is important, the weapons are also important to fight the darkness, to fight the injustice.
Okay. It means in cultural arena we have violence and non-violence both.
So violence also, but the intention behind violence matters.
Okay. So one of the issues that we have in Punjab agriculture is that the ground level of water aquifer is going down. Why don't we revoke the Indus Water Treaty and use that water in Punjab? We can easily help our farmers.
So Indus Water Treaty is an international treaty. So it was negated by the world. So unilaterally revoking the terms of treaty is not a good example, because if we are in upper Nigerian state in terms of Indus River, it will have negative repercussions in South Asia region. So that can have domino effect. For example, China is an upper Nigerian state in India, so it will have domino effect.
But any state doesn't consider about other such international treaty. They anti-terrorism is also international understanding. Can we use it as a coercive measure? Any policy of the government member of parliament or some minister have said about it in recent times? Any idea about it?
So I'm not aware about the comments from the minister, but then if we are doing it, it will have negative repercussions.
Okay, Mr. Shekhawat from Rajasthan, he has talked about it in media. You can go and see, and he was saying we are planning something. What is Veer Baal Divas?
So it is to celebrate, to remember the martyrdom of two younger Sahibzadahs of the Gobi Singh Ji and his mom.
Okay, so what is the difference between cultural area in Maja, Doaba, yes, and the other region?
Sir, I have to read on this.
Okay, Mansa Maja Goyal, right? This Sidhu Moosewala came from one of the region. Okay, how is India tackling the challenge of drones?
So there was a drone policy which was formulated by the government, according to which beyond a certain size, people need to take permission from the government to operate the drones.
Okay, now confine your answer towards the incoming drones from the Pakistan. Yes, what government of India is doing, what MHA or CAPFs have done, local police is doing.
So recently, Indian government has got a lot of drones supplying weapons and drugs across the border from Pakistan. So I believe the measures being taken is the government is putting up voice on formulating certain norms to regulate such technologies at international forums. For example, UPSC and also in the G20 presidency, India has become a voice to ensure that the global norms are being formulated.
Okay, so in recent time there have been a lot of attacks on Punjab police.
Yes.
Are we seeing the revival of Khalistani movement?
So the law and order is getting deteriorated. That is one of the concern. But saying that the Khalistan movement is getting revived would be an early statement at current juncture.
Okay, fine, thank you.
ये बताइए कि आप रहती कहाँ हैं?
So nearby Delhi.
Randala में. With your family parents?
No sir, by myself.
By myself. The room rent out किया हुआ?
So
रूम जाओगे या PG?
So PG में
रूम में आपने. तो रंजनगर मोहल्ले में अगर आपको वहाँ पे किसी समिति का या किसी आरडब्ल्यू का मैं मेंबर का चेयरमैन बना दिया जाए तो क्या क्या आप वहाँ काम करेंगे? पहली प्रायोरिटी क्या होगी आप रंजनगर में क्या प्रायोरिटी क्या इशू है रंजनगर में? ट्रैफिक का क्या क्या है?
So the prominent issue which we as students face is the stray dog problem.
Dogs.
Yes.
अच्छा.
That
और
is getting a
इसके लिए आपने प्रोटेस्ट करा कभी किया नहीं क्या?
Yes.
नहीं किया? You have not joined hand. Girls have not joined hand to protest against stray dogs.
Yes.
अच्छा. और क्या?
और sir solid waste management in terms of
पूरा कचरा.
segregation at source.
तो आप मतलब पढ़ाई में लगी रहती हैं अपने राजेंद्रनगर में क्या हो रहा है देखती नहीं है
So
5 साल से पढ़ाई में लगी आईएएस की तैयारी कर
we do interact with the students who are also preparing for the exam.
अच्छा उससे मिलते रहते हैं
Yes sir.
ठीक थैंक
Thanks.
कोचिंग कहाँ ले रही हैं?
So for minus.
तो वो पूछा जा सकता है आपका नाम यूनिक है Natasha Russian
यस
And there are other names also Russian. Any other name जो Indian girls सकती है?
Sir other name
Rita, Anita. Anita and Rita, both names are Russian only.
बता दें मेरे ख्याल से तो नताशा आप इंटरव्यू काफी देती हैं हमने कर लिया so you have been preparing for a pretty long time for this it seems to be your ambition and how many more attempts are available to you?
So one more attempt.
This is a big fun. We wish you that you are selected in this attempt you have reached to
First time we interview?
Yes.
no date na?
No days.
No.
So I have some session to give to you. I think they will give it to you. Don't bother to note down. I think they will give it to you. I think देंगे आपको बताएंगे बाद में. आप सुन लीजिए कि थोड़ा जो answer should be more towards actually practical thing happening. Your answers are more towards the theoretical part. Right? Basically, you are PhD scholar, you have knowledge about that, about the disasters, whatever you say, governance. ये governance का अगर आपसे पूछें, I expect तभी मैंने आपसे पूछा कुत्तों के बारे में देखती जाती है कि नहीं विश्लेषण करती या पढ़ती रहती हैं. So you have to take interest more what actually happening in governance. more practical, or any other area, disaster management. I asked you specifically about WTM or things like that. But actually, what are things that happened, cases happened, because the PD is also more on institutional arrangements, not actual disasters which have happened, practical aspects. So please concentrate more, whatever things you are talking about, actually I have spoken to you, more on the actual cases, case studies type of thing, on governance or disasters, the two important aspects which you have talked to you, or even international relations or even political science. So these are certain things, suppose somebody asks you about district and state, so the practical part of it. There's nothing theory you can talk about human rights and things like that. So actually what is happening in society, human rights are important. Similarly, many answers to good governance, you give examples, consideration of human rights, good. Actually practice में क्या corruption is one of the things. Delays in implementation of schemes. Like that. The benefit preaching to common man. There are many schemes government of India, Swachh Bharat scheme है. All schemes हैं. Governance में क्या कुछ issues हैं. Governance के उसको आप address करिए. Political theme. Your answers are more political part of it or academic part of it. This is my understanding. It is not wrong. But when we are interviewing for civil service and we are talking about governance, we expect you to know more. And a person who takes interest in the surrounding, what is happening in the surrounding, actually we expect you. और दूसरा पार्ट ये है कि नॉलेज के कुछ एस्पेक्ट हैं जिसमें टू इम्प्रूव योर नॉलेज बहुत सारे एरियाज हैं कॉल किया गया आपसे एक मैं कहूँगा यू शुड नॉट यूज वेरी फ्रीक्वेंटली आई बैक टू डिफर you can say there are other opinions of the subject, there are different point of view of the subject, and then you explain according to that. So then you can give other opinion and then give your own opinion also. I think so. I think differing, back to differ, not okay. You are not differing. There are always two sides of an opinion or similar. It's like money issues. We talked about non-violence. We talked about terrorism. So if you have to differ, so there are other opinions also. My opinion, other point of view of the subject. Right. Another thing I would like to tell you about your answers is that COVID-19, you need not be very critical in terms of government. The government has claimed that it has done a remarkable good job on COVID-19 management. And the government says that it is a model for international community in our COVID-19 management. So you highlight that also. I think there is some lectures that you can highlight. So again, it should have a balanced view. Your answer gives this impression that we failed on COVID-19 management, something like that. So that again is not expected of a person who is going to be on a civil service. So always be critical. Take a balanced view. Otherwise, generally you are okay. Personally, I feel that if you can speak slightly more longer, so it can be helpful to the board. You can practice it in the given time. If you can practice that, speak slightly more longer. Good, you take time to pause and give a reply. Good, you take pause and give a reply. But in some answers, I think you are trying to get the answer from the question itself. So, वो लगा नहीं रहा था कि आपका अपना आंसर है. You should give your own answer. You should not. और कभी-कभी you go to area which will invite more questions. Unnecessary skip out something like that. Otherwise, I give you all the best luck.
ये being a woman हमसे UPSC में इससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन जरूर पूछे जाएंगे तो वो उसको थोड़ा सा पहले से नेगेटिव क्वेश्चन क्या हो सकता है you can consider yourself likely negative question तो वो पंजाब में उसका क्या हो सकता है फिर स्टेट में क्या हो सकता है और फिर आपके सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड जो है पॉलिटिकल साइंस और उनसे रिलेटेड बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन हो सकते हैं जिसके बारे में जैसे वंदना सेवा वगैरह जो या आपने बहुत अच्छा बताया बूटा के काम किया पॉलिटिक्स का पंजाब के नाम पर पढ़ या साहित्य लुधियाना से उनके बाद में फेमस पर्सनालिटी हिस्टोरिकल सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ लुधियाना करते हैं और आप बहुत अच्छा है आपके आंसर लेकिन थोड़ा ज़्यादा कॉन्फिडेंट है ऐसा सब लोग सब कुछ जानते हैं इनसे वो ये करते हैं आप कॉन्फिडेंट है और क्वेश्चन और कॉन्फिडेंट है ये चीज़ और आपका अच्छा इंप्रेशन है और ये आई विश यू सक्सेस दिस टाइम या
पिछले मतलब कितने मार्क्स आए थे
ऐसा किसमें
लास्ट एग्जाम में कितने मार्क्स आए थे हाउ फार यू वर अवे फ्रॉम सिविल सर्विस के एग्जाम के मार्क्स आए ना
सर आई हैड 4 papers supplements ही हो रहा था this was my first pre-set first
This is the first match and she would have written well. I expected this much. The way she did.
I was expecting it to score well. So मैं पिछले से कंपेयर करना चाह रहा था
ये जब डेडिकेशन दिन करता है ऐसा लगता है क्योंकि देगा
TSP
स्कोर होंगे तो सर हिसाब से वो बैंक के लिए अपना बहुत अच्छा
बेटर अच्छा है अच्छा
मेरी तरफ से थोड़ा सा हेड नोडिंग काम करें हेड नोडिंग after experience that you have done like this always right so just restrict yourself right because it will come and secondly hand position जो था आपका एक आता है ऐसे हुआ तो दस उस पे restrictions लाना है and from my side read some World Bank report on there's one World Bank report on governance and development in 1942 then there are several reports series of reports
नीति आयोग की बहुत सारी रिपोर्ट आ रही है सर
नहीं no your understanding basic understanding of governance is lacking let me tell you frankly the basic understanding on governance is lacking right although you are studying in Center for Learning Governance but basic understanding is lacking so read that right otherwise your articulation is wonderful knowledge is good presentation is well your integrity is very fine right so you'll get through definitely from my side yeah
ये प्रैक्टिस बहुत करेंगे
yeah
जो है जो 10 पॉइंट ऑफ कोड डेवलप करिए मोर अपने आपस में डिस्कशन करिए आपके साथ बच्चे होंगे दे आर डिस्कशन
कैसे आप एंशिएंट थिंकर्स पूछे मनु को जरूर बताएं और कई सारे हैं इसमें और कुछ आंसर को एकदम जैसे वायलेंस नॉन वायलेंस क्लियर करते हो तो आप सीधे बोल सकते हैं कि इंडिया में वायलेंस हैज बीन एक्सेप्टेड एज द लास्ट अल्टरनेटिव हमारे कल्चर में वायलेंस फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी रही हुई लास्ट अल्टरनेटिव का कोई भी नहीं और वी बिलीव इन हुड्डा एंड यूथा एज प्राइम मिनिस्टर और दूसरी भी जैसे टेलीग्राम पे सामने पूछा कि रिवॉल्यूशन को तो आप बता सकते हो एट दैट टाइम डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप आ गया तो वेयर वी वेयर आवर वॉइस रियल टाइम डेमोक्रेटिक setup is there you can raise your voice to democratic setup so in democratic setup voice cannot be set so इस चीज को आप बता सकते हैं कि डेमोक्रेटिक भगत सिंह के टाइम डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप नहीं था उनकी वायलेंस भी हम क्रिटिसाइज अब है डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप आप इलेक्शन लड़िए सिविल सोसाइटी में लड़िए कैसे के लिए कई तरीके हैं भगत सिंह के वॉइस में इतना विश्वास नहीं करते बोले कि क्रांति विचारों के घर में होती और बाद के जो भगत सिंह है तो पूरी तरह से लास्ट एक स्टेटमेंट है उनका भगत सिंह का कि I don't like acts of terrorist, but I am not terrorism. Or maybe now I am very much convinced that the freedom would be achieved through non-violence. ये भगत सिंह को बोला लास्ट में ट्राई
बड़े ये होते हैं पंजाब से हैं ये सारे टॉपिक में है आजकल जो आइडियोलॉजिकल शिफ्ट दिख रहा है तो यही दिख रहा है कि गांधी के अगेंस्ट जो रेवोल्यूशनरी हीरोज हैं दे आर बीइंग मोर हाईलाइटेड देखिए भगत सिंह का जी दे आर मोर हाईलाइटेड which the officer said that the history of the revolutionaries are not being taught properly or not so the revolutionary history or revolutionary heroes of the freedom movement are now being brought more to self-respect as compared to non-violent part of the story of the readers. They are not sidelined, but they are also being brought up now. This is seen in the public paradigm and public discourse.
एक बुक होगी हिंदू पॉलिटी की, सुना ना हिंदू पॉलिटी के ओके, तो इसमें इंस्टीट्यूशंस एंड सेंटिमेंट्स इसको साथ और बाकी गांधी जी को जो नाम वायलेंस एक्सेप्ट किया वो मास गैदरिंग की वजह से किया और कोई नहीं था, बिकॉज़ ही न्यू दैट विदाउट द maximum mass support, government could never be pressurized. So how we could get maximum mass support? तो maximum mass support के लिए non-violence ही जरूरी है। इसी पे बार उन्होंने ओपन में बोला, अगर हम violence के लिए बोले और बोले कि बेटा मिल जाएगा और लेकिन आप लोग मारे जा कितने लोग वहाँ करते हैं, क्या कौन लोग हैं, बाकी सबको गारंटी किसी की कुछ नहीं होगा, कितने लोग आए तो सारे लोग इसमें खुद ही खूब मास सपोर्ट मिल रहा है, किसी भी दूसरे का नहीं को ऐसा लिखित नहीं है कई बार तीन लोग
नॉन वायलेंस को जैसा कि वो विपिन चंद्र लिखते हैं, नॉट ओनली जो वैल्यू सिस्टम मतलब प्रैक्टिकल स्ट्रेटेजी भी उन्होंने नॉट है विद वायलेंस के ज्यादा लोग नहीं जुड़ पाए और इसको इंटेन्योग्राफी वगैरह मैंने भी सपोर्ट किया है, इसलिए विपिन चंद्र बोलते भी हैं कि हम ग्राफ से और ये वैल्यू स्ट्रेटेजी भी उन्होंने अपनाया कि हिंसा का आंदोलन में बहुत देर तक वो नहीं चल सकता, हिंसा का आंदोलन लंबा रणनीति भी थी, रणनीति पे
और वो मीन्स में हो जाएगा और सब थे रूल्स गवर्नेंस में सेंटिटी जो उठाते थे मीन्स अगर अच्छा है तो आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव अच्छा है, विशेषण में अच्छा है कि गुड गवर्नेंस के लिए मीन्स गवर्नेंस में अगर आप रॉन्ग मीन्स यूज कर रहे हैं तो हमको लॉन्ग लास्टिंग नहीं है। कई सारे एग्जांपल्स एक बार उनसे था किसी से हमारे आपको मैं बोल रही हूं सेक्शन हो गया ब्रॉक वैल्यू की वर्ड्स में से तो हमने इसको बोला था
कि गलत मीन्स के साथ भी
इतने प्रभावी थे कि वो गीता माता बोलते थे कि मेरी मदर है गीता, वो भी हमने जो गीता के बारे में ऐसा कहा जाता है कि अपोजिट डिस्कर्स हम निकाल सकते हैं, जैसा कि वो सामने के बोला है तो अहिंसक आदमी हिंसा का भी डिस्कर्स निकाल देता है, हिंसा और अहिंसा का,
and this is
बहुत फ्लूइड है।
this statement true in many other books also.
Then just take a particular from same then just take Quran, some is taking message of peace and another are
confusion and many people have done the
you
same.
can tell them
Justify the
these are
election.
really Kasambi.
They are
You
resorted.
can draw any from contradictory thing.
बताइए आप।
गीता।
Yes. So I believe you need to read more about what is happening in Punjab in recent times. Be it political, change of government, how it is tackling the problems. Uprise of Khalistan movement again. If you want to read, there is a book. Yes, Indigenous movement. Khalistan conspiracy by GDS Singh. Right. Then there is this again. There is one troublemaker, Amritpal Singh, who has come from UAE and he is projecting himself the new Goyal in recent times, right? और अभी आप देखिए ड्रोन वाला जो आंसर था उस पे और स्पेसिफिक होना था आपको, क्योंकि बहुत गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने अभी निर्णय लिए हैं सब, राइट? BSF की भी और एरिया बढ़ाया गया था दैट यू नो, एंड सो yes, and what is happening on actual on the field that will come with a recent reading of opinion pages or news. And there is also one white paper of Government of India on 1984, right? You can read that on the download there. Okay. Yes. So this is all.
I think आप फिल्म में देखती हैं? फिल्में देखती हैं? टीवी सीरियल देखती हैं कोई?
शॉर्ट्स
ये तो बहुत है। अच्छा, वो टीवी चैनल देखती हैं? कोई टीवी चैनल?
सर कंटेंट को प्रिंट मीडिया न्यूज़पेपर रीडिंग एंड सर्च करें।
सनसेट टीवी भी देखिए कभी। सनसेट टीवी देखिए, अच्छा टीवी है। ये पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सिविल सर्विस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आपका अच्छा टीवी है। और टीवी चैनल वाला देखिए, ओटीटी वाला, ओटीटी वाला। तो सराउंडिंग में तो कोई इंटरेस्ट दीजिए। व्हाट इज हैपनिंग सराउंडिंग यू?
टीवी का
OTT प्लेटफॉर्म पे रणदीप हुडा का कैट करके एक वो आया है जो ड्रग्स वगैरह से रिलेटेड है। There was this cat commando Andrevala game. रणदीप हुडा शो है। OTT पे आया, Netflix पे या Amazon पे, I don't know.
ये सेंटर के जो फाउंडर मेंबर हैं वो है मिर्जा गोपाल चाहे back in 90s.
हमारे एक बोर्ड में बहुत पुरानी बात है, आपको बताता हूँ। तो एक वो कैंडिडेट से पूछा कि आपकी किस यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ते हैं? तो ये सोच यूनिवर्सिटी सेट वहाँ क्या है इसमें? तो भी उन्होंने कहा था यूनिक थिंग इज राइटिंग टू तो these asked कि कितने हाउसेज हैं कितने बोर्ड हैं? So you didn't know how many houses are there.
You know also you must know chancellor of the
So you wanted to know कि आपके surrounding में कुछ
chancellor
ऐसे
कौन
हैं?
है? This is chancellor of this university.
तो वो एक पूछा कि आप ये
Vice
महिला
chancellor.
ही है ना, वाइस चांसलर।
आप
Vice chancellor is chancellor.
हाँ, तो भी तो महिला है, द्रौपदी।
नहीं, she is vice chancellor. Chancellor is someone else.
नहीं, राष्ट्रपति ही होता है।
हाँ, नहीं,
खाली एडिटर होता है।
JNU का नहीं है.
जेएनयू का नहीं है।
कहीं के राष्ट्रपति JNU का कोई chancellor.
जेएनयू वाले राष्ट्रपति नहीं होता। नहीं, उस जगह का जैसे अभी सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी का छत्तीसगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी उसका प्रेसिडेंट ही है।
Yes.
कहीं होता है दुर्गासी
सेंट्रल इंस्टीट्यूट में है।
नहीं, दुर्गासी सेंट्रल
मेरे ख्याल से वहाँ जहाँ विजिटर प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया विजिटर एवरीवेयर
जैसे संस्कृत
Yes, but there is no post of chancellor at IGNOU. IGNOU doesn't have a post of chancellor. They only have chancellor and the assistant.
So I hope we have done.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to ask from us, any question that you have in your mind and you want to answer, right?
ऐसे इंटरव्यू और अटेंड कर लीजिए आप
Right.
चर्चा कीजिए।
You can ask from us.
ये जो कुछ पॉइंट्स है पढ़ने से तो नहीं आएगा, अभी डिस्कशन से और सुनने से और चर्चा करने से ज़्यादा आएगा। पढ़ने का टाइम तो आपको नहीं होगा तो कंसल्टेट सब्जेक्ट थ्रू कर सकते हैं। करंट इवेंट्स आपसे बात ही की गई है। एनीथिंग यू वांट टू आस्क?
So the non-violence question, like, I think I
No, say what are you?
I will not downgrade the contribution of revolutionary. So can we really break them on an accelerate movement and can we negate the very contribution of the revolutionaries, even though they were valid, the means were not as per Gandhi's idea, but still they cannot be downgraded or contributed.
Yes.
You can take it as one point.
It's a good point.
They can very well be rate people of earth. By Frank Fanon. He supported violence. So he supported violence. The violence of ruler class cannot be equal with the violence of oppressed. Violence is a liberating force for oppressed. So when we criticize violence, we mean only for oppressor violence. But oppressed violence is totally different in concept. So it cannot be equated. So it is the definition of the violence which has been questioned by Fanon. So don't read the book, but read some article about the violence by Fanon, which will help you. It's a very strong, logical, brilliant argument in the.
But the point is saying that as my question, that as a candidate for civil service or otherwise, we cannot fully justify violence in society in any form, whether it's political violence or violence by revolutionary, etc. But as you said, certain circumstances, as a last resort, people go to, and there are certain circumstantial reasons for that also. But as a principle, we cannot justify it. As a norm, we cannot justify that. So therefore, it's not justifiable. But as a circumstances or something, as I said, last democracy नहीं थी वहाँ पे, democracy नहीं थी, कोई बीज नहीं था, तो ऐसा करना पड़ता है. This is one thing. Two is that many revolutionary movement in India, Bengal का भी है. Even Maulana Azad was part of a revolutionary movement in his first phase of his life, but he was underground for many years. His first phase of his life. Then of course he left that in the national street. So many of them, even Savarkar was part of some revolutionary movement in the initial stage. Many went to underground. Later on he joined political movement and left revolutionary movement. So what we were having to move from revolutionary to mainstream politics and things like that. Ultimately, so the violence cannot be justified, but other circumstances compel them, force them. In my opinion.
आर्मी तो फिर भी रहता है ना।
Army चलो।
थोड़े तो violence का ही use है।
That's so समाज, society, like the society कैसी बात? बट रेवोल्यूशनरी मूवमेंट्स का जो वायलेंस को पार्ट में छोड़ दिया जा रहा है, बट दे वर कमिटेड टू नेशनल फ्रीडम, दे वर कमिटेड टू नेशनलिज्म, दे वर कमिटेड टू इंडियनेस, एंड दे वर वांटेड टू थ्रो आउट द फॉरेन कंट्री. तो वो तो है ही अपना समाज.
वायलेंस कभी पार्टनर के लिए नहीं, बात करने के लिए सीखना पड़ेगा.
वो लोग का कभी उसको तो कोई कमी नहीं है ना, उनका नेशनलिज्म है या हमारे कंट्री के साथ लव है या उनका साथ ब्रिटिशर्स को हटाने का वो है, उसमें तो कोई कमी नहीं है. वो ठीक है, वायलेंस
टूल्स है भाई, उन्होंने भी कभी वायलेंस कहाँ कितने हमने शायद अब एक ही उसको
इसमें हाँ एक ही है.
बाकी लोग सारे तेरे भाई के लिए मनाते हैं सबने ना स्कोर
हाँ कैसे वो आने वाले. तो एक लोग हम बात करते हैं, आप लोगों से डील करके बात करना है. जैसे टॉपिक which has sometimes theoretical notions, sometimes practical part of it, sometimes strategic part of it also. Strategic also. It's not that. After all, पंडित नेहरू गए इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी को सपोर्ट करने के रेडफोर्ट ट्रायल्स. It's not that every time Subhash Chandra Bose, because he joined hands with Germany, so you cannot just condemn him because of that. Because his nationalism, his love for the country, is no less to anybody else. You have to take a balance and contextual. Thank you. Anything else?
Yes. Sir, we had a candidate who is also parent this time. So she faced a situation with Satyavati ma'am's board. She was asked to take a stand on whom to give Chandigarh.
Whom to?
Give Chandigarh as a capital because there is a dispute between Punjab and Delhi. So initially she said that the status quo should be maintained, but then the board members insisted like 2-3 times to take a stand. So should we change the stand on such issues?
See, sometimes board member, as I said, I have seen also, sometimes board members force you to some provocative questions so that they judge your personality. So don't lose your cool. If you in such situation, when the situation is complex, as an administrator, you have to take a practical view. You cannot say there are say otherwise the government will take the Chandigarh, Punjab को तो हरियाणा क्या बात है, इतने सारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर है और इतने सारे लॉजिक क्यों नहीं फैसला कर पा रहे हैं? How can you make a decision? So despite you may have opinion, yes or no, but there is a complexity attached to it. Go to the complexity and then give your answer there. So you need not to say yes, give it to the board. Board members may be insisting, but you can still say this is a complex issue. It's like that. Many issues like that. Many issues.
So we should not take the stand.
So you don't have to agree with them. You can get the alternative views are there, the alternative claims are there. उसके क्या nonsense है, क्या disputes है, उसके involved क्यों नहीं हो रहा? Why Chandigarh not given to Punjab or Haryana? What there is no some reason there. So those reasons are valid reasons.
For instance, you have worked in Delhi, you have worked in Delhi, right?
Yes.
So there is a statehood demand in Delhi. So should Delhi be given statehood or not? Right? Likely that question may be posed to you, but you have to, tell the board that what are the multiplicity of authority in Delhi, what are the problems in Delhi, why certain part of Delhi that should be exclusively in the hand of the Indian government, why necessary, how Delhi is a little complex, and the statehood should not be given to Delhi, right? Similarly, in case of Punjab, you have to talk about the complexity, and you have to give argument what you are talking about.
I'm not sure what is the argument जैसे मैं बताने का हो सकता है, मगर there are arguments in Congress. There are arguments. It's not arguments. Chandigarh है और
So maintain the position of the very emphasize, there are 3 regions, first, second, third.
some it's strategic for both the states. Both the states plus में investment भी है, लोग भी है. और ज़्यादा उस एरिया का वो बड़ा सिटी है लाइक बॉम्बे फॉर वेस्टर्न इंडिया, कलकत्ता फॉर ईस्टर्न इंडिया, चेन्नई फॉर नॉर्दर्न इंडिया. चंडीगढ़ इज बिग सिटी जो पहले प्री पार्टीशन इंडिया हुआ होता था. सो फॉर दैट पंजाब, हरियाणा, नॉर्दर्न इंडिया, हिमाचल प्रदेश, चंडीगढ़ इज वेरी फोकस सिटी, टर्मिनेटिंग सिटी. सो इसका नो सिटी स्टेट कैन प्रोटेक्ट देम ऑन दैट. ऐसा नो हिस्टोरिकल रीजन भी नहीं है उसके कि वही 100,000 साल से चला है, 500 साल से. Very recently developed city. There is strategic importance for all the states. Himachal, Haryana, Punjab, and even for Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir. So not easy to align to this one state.
अभी जो स्टेटस को है वही सही है गवर्नमेंट की
Yeah, yeah.
देती है और उसमें दो पॉइंट है जो की टर्म है जस्टिस जस्टिस शुड बी मेडेड टू एग्जिस्ट यूनियन टेरिटरी ये हरियाणा नहीं उसमें और स्टेट है यूनियन टेरिटरी चंडीगढ़ उसका भी है ना राजधानी से तीन है तीनों के साथ जस्टिस होना चाहिए सेकंड चीज कि सिर्फ पंजाब को अगर उसको दे देते हैं तो स्टेट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ठीक नहीं होगा revival of all
Strategic argument though, strategic importance of city बहुत ज़्यादा.
But it
आर्मी is a big cat area. Chaldi मंडे बनता है. Chaldi cat area. जैसे नॉर्थ इंडिया का बहुत आर्मी का establishment है. So there is very this Chandigarh is strategically very important location of North India nowadays. अपने हरियाणा हो चाहे हिमाचल हो चाहे पंजाब हो चाहे वो जम्मू एंड कश्मीर हो दिस इज इमर्जिंग एज कमर्शियल सिटी
पावर भी ज्यादा तीन स्टेट में तो आपको ब्रीफ में दोनों स्टेट बता दीजिए प्रो की पंजाब नीचे उनका भी स्टेट और कंक्लूजन में बताइए एटलीस्ट फॉर नाउ अभी जो सिचुएशन है वो स्टेट ऑफ स्टडीज
सो यू से आई विल नॉट टेक स्टेट आई विल गो बाय दिस प्रेजेंट स्टेट आई विल नॉट गो टू एनी स्टेट फिर ना जवाब दो क्या लेना है
और उसका रीजन नहीं बता दीजिए
in view of this background justice situation the prison is still the best दिल्ली का पूछना है दिल्ली की स्टेट को लेकर आते हैं तो any capital of the country cannot be given to the provincial state Delhi is the capital of the country it has to be governed by the central government otherwise वहाँ दूसरी पार्टी रूल कर रही है सेंटर में कुछ और कर रहा है it's not good for the central governance or for central government so logistically administratively from a governance point of view the capital should be the capital central government best arrangement मालूम है कि गवर्नमेंट ने अथॉरिटी और पुलिस जो है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट के पास है तो कहीं नहीं हम नहीं मानते लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स या किसी पार्लियामेंट में घेराव करके दिल्ली पुलिस कुछ नहीं कर रही तो इट्स नॉट इन द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट so logistically and administratively the better arrangement that capital of the country should remain the central government thank you all the best